Time for an odd man rush here on the SDH Network, and it's time to check in with our friends at Potros FC and the UPSL. And we get to have the owner, Chris Uranga, hanging out with us, and the leading scorer, Marc Bineau, Daddy Bineau. And Chris, thanks for dropping by for the education and the update on everything Potros FC.
Happy to be here, John.
All right. So, Mark, let me go owner first, considering he's the guy in the front office here. Chris, let me ask you this. For those that don't know about Potros, why start a franchise? How far back are we talking for those that don't know? And why the UPSL? I guess get into the background of Potros for those that don't know about it.
Yeah, so for those who don't know about Potros and who we are, we're just kind of like a grassroots club. Started with me and my brother Benjamin back when he graduated high school. You could go even further back than that. We talked about it in our recent podcast on our YouTube channel about the history of how we started the club. So depending on where you look at where the actual start was, but basically throughout our entire lives, we've always been very involved in soccer and wanting to create something and getting our friends involved and wanting to always do training. And we were always kind of taking the initiative and doing things on our own during the summers, going to the parks and putting our own training sessions together. We kind of started with the name Potros. We started playing under SSA in the recreational program, and that's where we started using the name. But it was really not a recreational team. It was basically getting guys around from our local high school, local area who couldn't really afford to play in the select program and stuff like that. And so we put a team in the recreational program, but with the purpose of doing training and trying to compete the highest that we could. And actually, Mark was actually a part of that. So he's been with the club since before we were even our own club. But then after my brother Benjamin, when he graduated high school, we wanted to keep playing at a high level. Me and him both stayed local for college. We didn't go to play in college. So we decided to start our own club, and we started in the local amateur league in the ADSL. And we were pretty successful in our first couple seasons there, just kind of using local high school players as well. But we saw the potential to kind of take it to the next level. We were introduced to UPSL. I actually got invited to play UPSL with another club, and that's how I got introduced to it. So when we were looking for other opportunities to take our club to the next level, we looked into it and we kind of joined into the UPSL, and that was about 4 years ago, and just kind of been going up ever since and keep trying to grow the club. But it's really just been between me and my brothers, our dad, and then now we're starting to get more people involved outside of our family to kind of help the club keep on growing. But it really just started with just the two of us and saying, hey, we want to keep playing at a high level. Let's get our friends from our high school and from around the area and see how far we can take it.
So, Mark, what has it been like for you to be a part of everything here involving UPSL Georgia, seeing the sport grow and being a part of things at Potros? What's it been like for you to be a part of the growth of Potros as a part of everything that's gone on in the last couple of years?
Yep, it's really a good spirit. I mean, I've seen a couple guys come and go within the club, and I'm just, one of the guys who's always been there for a while, and seeing how the club's gone from, like Chris was saying, from, kind of a more of a rec team, and then we went into the adult league around, and then now in the UPSL, and then we're competing left and right, and then people recognizing that, we're a solid club. And, it's just been a good experience, especially it's not just like how we perform like on the field all the time, the way that, especially Chris, like the backbone of the club in terms of management and all that stuff, the way that the club's always looking to do things right, to do things correctly, that's really been really inspiring to me, and just seeing the club grow. So I'm just happy to be part of it.
All right, we're going to do this snake draft style as we catch up with everybody and what's going on. In the Georgia Premier League table, as we're talking, it is Dalton United, Kalanji Pro Profile, Vino Tinto, the Revs, and Potros that are, a part of the top element of this is North Georgia United, Atlanta City, Georgia Athletic, FC Birmingham, Fountain City. So, Mark, for those who've never seen UPSL, this looks like, to me, one of the most competitive groups top to bottom that we see on any given match day. How competitive is this group in the Georgia Premier, where you guys are literally, you guys just seem to be just knocking each other around fairly constantly.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying, like every game, especially conference, there's no easy games. You might see a team at the bottom of the table right now. They could easily challenge us, Potros, or any of the top teams in the league. And that's kind of what you get every weekend. And so knowing that competition, no team can really take their foot off the gas during the season. You kind of have to, like, every training and every game, take it seriously, because easily some team was like bottom table could knock out the first or the second team on the table. So the competition is there, the players is there, the level is there, and the level of seriousness. Obviously we've had some great teams. You mentioned Dalton, Kalonji, Potros. We recently also had Atlanta United in there. So, every time we're going to play Atlanta United, it's going to be a tough game. So, yeah, and it goes without saying, even Atlanta United, if someone was to look at the table, like from previous seasons, they would see Atlanta United and be like, okay, Atlanta United is going to win this league probably. But that's not really been the case. It's not that easy. Every team is competitive. Every weekend is a competitive game. It doesn't matter what team you're going to play against. You have to go with the mindset that it's going to be a tough game and you have to win. And that's kind of how it's been.
How competitive, Chris, is the UPSL? Because you look at from an ownership perspective and just a growth perspective, and making sure that everything is going to really showcase what's going on in the Georgia Premier. Like I said, it's Dalton, Kalonji, Vino Tinto, the Revs, you guys out of the blocks. You could throw a blanket over all of you. For someone who hasn't seen it, give me the elevator pitch. Why should I walk in the door and see this really ultra competitive league that I might be just hearing about for the first time? Why should I go and watch what's going on with what you're building at Potros and the UPSL in general?
Well, I think it kind of comes down to the professionalism of the league. Based on the pyramid of the U.S. soccer pyramid, it's just considered an amateur league. And a lot of people might look at that and just think that it's your typical Sunday league. But I think that when you're in it and you see the other teams that are in it and the things that these teams are doing in their communities, and also on the field, what opportunities the players that are playing out of this league are getting. A lot of players from this league have gone on to sign professional contracts. There's players in this league who have gone to play for their national teams, players who have gone to play in college, who were out of high school, started in the UPSL, and then were able to get opportunities to go play in college. So it's really like something that is as close to a professional league in the United States that you can get without having to be $1 million owner and have all this financial backing. Anybody can, not anybody, it's not like you're going to be able to just come the next day and start a club in the UPSL, but anybody can start something, get involvement from the community, and it's affordable to the point where you can build something special in your local community, which is what a lot of these clubs are doing. It's what we're trying to do as well. And like I said, we started as just two brothers at a local park with some friends, and we've now built it into one of the top clubs in the state for this level, and still trying to grow. So I think that's really what sets it apart from other like amateur leagues in the area. And then the other thing is that it's year round. So there's a fall season and spring season, because I would say it's comparable in the level to other leagues such as like USL League 2 or NPSL, which are considered the same level on the pyramid. But those leagues are only a couple of months in the summer, and it's mostly college players or players from overseas. And it's not going to give you the same, it's not going to be the same opportunities for players who want to play year round and don't have the opportunity to play like at a college or something like that. And they still want that opportunity to continue developing and get seen and get scouted and move to the next level. That's really what the UPSL offers.
How rewarding is it for you and your family to build what you've been building there at Potros and be a part of the footprint up there in Cobb County this season, since you're playing everything at Marietta High School?
I think it's something that when we started, it was really just something just for ourselves to continue playing as players. I was 22 or 21 when we started it. My brother was 18. I'm now about to turn 28. He is 24. So like it started as just that, like just for us to continue playing. But as it's grown, we've seen opportunities to get involved in the community. We want to start an academy. That's something in our short-term goals in the next year or so, is to start getting involved with youth around the area and start helping to develop players, especially where we grew up. And we grew up in Powder Springs, which is a part of Cobb County.
Yep.
There's not really a big emphasis or a big soccer program out of Powder Springs. And we want to be able to kind of get involved in that community and sort of use the success that we've had in the last couple of years and the exposure that we have to start trying to get involved to help bring that level and that soccer, because that's always been one of our philosophies, is that I mentioned it in the beginning. A lot of the players who started with us were the players who had a lot of talent, but they didn't necessarily have the financial resources or knowing the right people to be able to get involved in these programs that exist. So we kind of started our own programs to try to give them an opportunity. And I think that's something that we're really looking for, to use our club to continue to try to give opportunities to people in the community who may not have the opportunity otherwise.
So, Marc, what's it been like for you lighting it up this season? I think it's 8 of the 14 goals so far in season. You have been able to put in the back of the net. What's it like to be in this kind of a rhythm to get this team and be a part of this hot start that you guys have in this ultra competitive division?
I mean, it's definitely rewarding to see all the hard work paying off. But at the end of the day, I think the team has just been solid overall. We've had a rough start to the season. Actually, there was a couple changes in terms of coaching and different stuff that happened, but we didn't let that slow us down. We just kept working. We kept grinding, and in training and in games, we show up with the right attitude, and then we just kept it going. And I'm just happy to be one of the guys kind of leading the group. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's really been a teamwork. The team is working really hard. Every practice, every training, we're making sure that we're focusing on the next thing and the next game, and we're taking it day by day. So yes, it's rewarding for me personally, but I'm also very satisfied with how the team is moving forward. So we just want to keep that rhythm going.
You mentioned the team right now, 3-1-1 coming out of the blocks. Where do you think you are right now as a side, knowing that you've got to go to Discovery for your next match on the board, going up against Georgia Athletic on the weekend, and then you've got a bit of a home run, and I mean that in 2 words, where if my math is right, 5 of your next 6 are at home after this one coming up this weekend. Where do you think you are with those changes that you had in the preseason? Where do you think you are as a club right now, getting to where you think you need to be as a club here this go round?
Yeah, I think based on the last couple of results we've had, the team is in a pretty good mindset going into this weekend. So obviously, like I mentioned earlier, we know no game's going to be easy. Georgia Athletic is never an easy game. I think last season the result was only a 1-0 result that we got off of them. So we know it's going to be a tough game, and playing away is also add to it. So we're going. I'm pretty sure we're going in confidently. So we're going in, but also we're gonna be prepared, and we just got to go in with the right attitude, like we've been doing last couple of weeks. Every game has not been easy, even though we won 4-1, 4-0. It has not really been that easy. It's just making sure that we're not going in, with the attitude that we're gonna win this game or it's gonna be any easier than it has been. So we're in the right mindset. We're prepared, but we just got to make sure we go in with the right attitude and, the will and desire to go and, get the job done, really.
Marc Bineau and Chris Uranga hanging out with us from Potros FC, getting a bit of an update here as we almost get to the halfway point of the season right now. 3-1-1 here in the 2024 fall in a really tough division. So, Chris, how many different lives do you have right now that you have to juggle to make sure that everything gets the amount of attention that it deserves? How many different hats do you wear on the field, off the field, away from Potros and with Potros? How many different lives do you have right now?
Too many to count. Yeah. And one of the things that's been really a challenge for me personally with my role and my involvement in the club is that my wife and I actually just had our first child recently. He's about to turn 8 months.
Yeah, and that's the studio audience that folks might have been hearing.
Yeah, I'm kind of chasing him around right now during this interview too.
So is he left-footed or right-footed?
We're gonna find out soon, hopefully. So yeah, that's definitely been something that's challenging, trying to make sure I'm not spending too much time away from my family, but also trying to stay involved with the team. So a lot of what I've been doing, especially these last couple seasons, have been more from kind of like the background. I haven't been at the trainings as much as I have in the past. I've been trying to get to as many games as I can. I have had missed a few games here and there. But then also I also work full time. I'm a data analyst. Um, so and then there's some changes going on in my company right now. So I'm also juggling that because there's a change in management, and so it's definitely a challenge trying to keep up with managing anywhere between 35 to 60 players, managing staff, managing other managers in the league, trying to keep the team competitive, trying to make sure that we're still keeping the standards that we want to keep, still trying to come up with time to do other initiatives like getting involved in the community, and then also trying to balance with my personal life and my full-time job as well. So it's definitely a challenge, but everything has its rewards. And so far, luckily we've been having a lot of support. So I'm really thankful for, my brother who helps step in a lot. I'm really thankful for the players who have been showing a lot of professionalism and commitment, and they're always willing to step in and do a little bit extra when we ask them to, which I think has made a big difference in our success as well. And then also just like the staff and just having volunteers who are coming out and helping out is always very helpful to help us to. And it's really just people who believe in the vision that we had, and so we're really thankful that people have bought in to what we believe in and helping us to get the job done.
And so, if I was to ask you, what is the Potros standard? When someone should think about Potros, what is the standard that you want to set? So when folks come walking up and they were to knock on that imaginary door, they come and watch a match. What is the Potros standard on the field and off? What is the aura that you want to give out when folks mention Potros or you mention Potros? Oh yeah, that. So what's the aura or the standard that you want to exude?
So I think it's always been since the beginning that our philosophy was always been that if we do the things right off of the field, that the results will come on the field with time. We've been up and down in the league. Our first ever season in the UPSL, we finished bottom of the table, but we never let it get us down. We never tried to take any shortcuts. We always tried to do it things little by little every season, learn from the previous one, try to improve it. And also one of our other philosophies is that we're a professional development club, but that doesn't mean getting our players to sign a professional contract in a soccer club. It means developing the players to be professionals in all aspects of what they do. So being on time, having good communication, making the effort, having good attitudes, all those things are things that we emphasize season after season. We have had players who came in who were extremely talented players, could easily be playing professionally, could easily be playing at the top clubs, but they didn't meet those other values of coming to training on time and all those things. So we've had to make decisions where we move on and we focus on the players who do meet the values of our club. And that's just kind of something that we take pride in. We think that we've been recognized for that. I think that a lot of people talk about us as one of the most organized clubs in the league because we try to do everything as best as we can to do it the best way. We try to make our home games very well organized. We try to have very good exposure with our social media and our live streams. And I think it's been attracting serious players who want to be a part of that. So I think that's something that has really, contributed to our success as a club.
So, Mark, what's it like to be a part of something that has a standard that is set the way that it is?
Yeah, I was really thinking about. I thought this question was gonna come at some point before the interview, like what it's like being at Potros, and whatever Chris just answered, that was literally my answer. I was like there's nothing like in terms of like the team or players, anything like that. We do have some quality players, but I don't think that's what differentiates Potros from any other team around town. It's mostly our desire and the intention, from management and the team and the organization in general to try and do the things right and correctly. That like Chris was saying, that's making sure when we go play away, that we're not going to leave a field with trash. Like, we're going to make sure we clean up after ourselves. We're going to go on time, and then showing respect at training, showing respect to referees, and everywhere we go, just keeping that standard. And then we know, like Chris was saying, if we can do this thing correctly, Potros definitely has a reputation for, the team that try and do everything correctly. But now that we're also performing on the field, that adds to it. So it's really, as someone who also appreciate that, I think that's one of the things that keeps me at Potros. There's, some good clubs around town that I could easily join, but I don't think there's many clubs that has the same standards that we hold in terms of the things we want and will and have the will to do outside the field, just to make sure we keep a good reputation and then continue to perform in the field as well. So I think, that's been rewarding and also very inspiring to be, within the club with all those standards. Correct.
Marc's been the hot hand so far, 8 goals so far in the first 5 matches. Christopher Uranga is part of the ownership and the brain trust of the administration. Guys, thanks for dropping by, giving us the update. For those that are wanting to know, it is at Discovery High School, 2 o'clock on the 6th, the last road game in a stretch, because after this weekend, when Potros goes to Georgia Athletic and they play at Discovery, 5 of the next 6 are at home, and home is Marietta High School. And so that is the home here in the 2024 fall season for the Georgia Premier and the Premier Division. Guys, thanks for dropping by and being a part of the discussion. Thanks for the update. Thanks for the introduction. And Chris, social media, what's the best way for folks to keep in touch with everything going on at Potros these days?
Yeah, so our most active places you'll find us are on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube. So you can find Potros Football Club with the Spanish spelling of football on Instagram, Potros FC. We live stream all of our home matches. We live stream some of our away matches. So if you're not able to come out to get the game, but you want to catch a game, you can always catch it on our YouTube. We're posting almost daily, definitely multiple times per week. So if you want to keep up with all we're doing, that's our social media.
That is the rundown of what's going on with Potros in the UPSL. Hot and heavy between now and Thanksgiving, and we're going to keep an eye on everything. Thanks a lot, guys, for dropping by and being a part of an odd man rush, a 2v1. You have scored. You've gotten it past me, and everybody is all the better for it. Thanks for dropping by here on SDH.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.